Whenever Christmas time comes, the many and different traditions that celebrate Christmas are starting to surround us with joyful moments and good times spent with family and friends. As always, watching a film might be a good choice for a nice and beautiful time spent with the loved ones around Christmas tree, drinking hot cocoa and eating sweets. Each family might have this tradition in which they watch a Christmas movie. But now, the question is, what film is the most watched, the most popular and the most favorite film to watch with your family? Ever since I can remember, there is a movie that might be considered one of the most viewed Christmas movies, at least in the last 35 years. A film that is streamed and presented on television programs from December 1st until Christmas Day. A film so popular thanks to its cast, its story, and thanks to its comedic moments that could make anyone have a laugh. Home Alone, a film released in 1990 directed by Chris Columbus, starring Macaulay Culkin, Joe Pesci, and Daniel Stern, that tells the story of a young boy left home alone on Christmas holidays by his family, who left in a hurry in the holiday, who will have to protect his house from robbers using different smart jokes and traps set around his house. The film was quite successful instantly, so the producers started to create sequels and spin-offs of the story, but with the exception of the first two movies of the series, the others are considered to be quite bad. Today I will talk about the first one, the film that started the series, and how its style impressed many generations in the last decades. I have to say from the beginning that this film is one of those movies where logic does not totally apply. It is not one of those movies in which you have to think a lot about the story or to find a grain of logic for its context. It's just a movie in which you have to enjoy the ride and that's it. If we might try to find a reason to understand the film, I think that the only thing that could be logical is the misunderstanding in which the McAllister family forgets to take Kevin on their trip. But let's take it slowly. The story of the film is simple. The McAllisters are living for the holidays in Paris. One of their sons, Kevin, who is considered as the black sheep of the family, wishes to never have a family after a small conflict with his big brother in which he was seen as the culprit not only by his parents, but by his siblings too. Due to the weird weather that happened overnight, the McAllisters oversleep and are getting late to the airport, so they forget Kevin, leaving him home alone. Meanwhile, some criminals are starting to rob the houses from the neighborhood with the main purpose to rob the McAllister house, so Kevin, now home alone, has to protect his house from those criminals. If you think about it, the story is a bit silly, I know, but here is the funny part. I think the film is made in such a way to feel like the story is a fantasy of an 8-year-old who happens to be in that context. There are a lot of coincidences that they might have felt as, okay, this thing happened because it had to happen, but Columbus structured the story to feel like a story for the children. He presents the context of the family, of how Kevin is seen by his siblings and how they treat him as a nuisance, as an annoying kid. I am not saying he might not be annoying, but the way they act around Kevin, you can understand he is mistreated. Meanwhile, you have this policeman who you know nothing about, who in fact is the criminal who wants to rob the house. In the first 30 minutes of the film, Columbus gives the viewer the context, the villain, and the rhythm of the film through a chaotic scene in which the viewer does not know what is happening, who are these people, and who you might have as the main character of the film. I mentioned that the film feels like a long list of moments that could be some coincidences, but how the chaos of the situation is presented helps a lot for this feeling. You don't know if the family will succeed to catch the plane, you don't know if they will realize they left Kevin at home. The chaos is installed pretty well into the mind of the viewer, so from here on, Columbus is presenting Kevin's story, which is everyone's fantasy when it was a kid, to be left home alone, having the house as your playground, and do whatever you want to do without having parents to stop you. I think I like the structure of this film. It makes me feel like everything is random, but it is not. It is made to not only give you a context of what might happen, but also it plants the seeds of the characters' personalities and evolution. The thing that drives the whole film to the happy ending that it was supposed to happen on Christmas Day. At the first glance, the characters might be created based on different typologies that could make the viewer feel attracted or repugnant towards certain characters. The annoying uncle, the bullying brothers and sisters, the parents who are too busy with other things and do not pay attention to their child. Columbus is presenting those typologies in a direct way to quickly understand who is an enjoyable character or not from Kevin's perspective. Even Kevin is presented as this child who is afraid of everything and who is seen by others as annoying and worthless, so from a certain perspective, Kevin is a bit of a prick too. But their evolution during the story makes the viewer feel their arc differently and see the characters in a different light at the end of the film. Kevin starts to grow, to become more mature. He is not scared easily anymore by different things like the basement or the old man from across the street. There are still things that scare him, but he gets pretty fast over that feeling. Kevin's mom, Kate, starts to realize what she had done and tries to move the mountains and make the impossible to reach home to her child. Kevin's dad, Peter, also tries to reach Kevin even though he has a different method and stays with the family all the time, but he tries to fix the things nonetheless. Buzz, Kevin's brother, even though is this type of annoying and bully big brother, at the end of the film he shows a little bit of maturity and respect for Kevin. For about 30 seconds. Kevin's uncle is the comical relief of the tension with his sarcastic remarks that, yes, they are funny, but he is just there to get annoyed of Kevin and to not care at all for him. The big two characters, however, that have the high spot most of the time alongside Kevin are the robbers Harry and Marv. Their dynamic is clearly made to be comical and serious at the same time, with Harry being the leader and Marv being the dumb associate who does anything stupid, because he can do that. It is quite obvious that Harry is the mastermind of the job. You see him dressed as a cop at the beginning of the film, trying to get information about the house. You see him taking the decisions regarding the job. Still, with his own genius and Marv's bluntless mind, they are quite a good pair of villains. They are the guys who you have to hate, that deserve to be punished by the main character, and when the punishment comes, it is quite satisfying. The practical traps and jokes Kevin is doing in order to save his house are the pinnacle of the film. That whole scene is the main reason the people want to watch the film. To have a good laugh when the bad guys are beaten by an 8-year-old kid. Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern had an incredible dynamic. They played their characters in such a way to truly hate them, but also have pity on them after all the trauma they received during those moments. And after everything they went through, I cannot blame someone if they do take their side. Thinking now to the whole movie, the characters are the one who make the film to go forward. Yes, the chaos is presented, the context is shown, different comical moments are made in such a way to truly laugh, but the characters are the ones who drive the story forward. Of course, you cannot have a good character without having a great actor to present the character you see on screen, but even so, the viewer does not care if the characters are made after certain patterns. The viewer just enjoys the story for what it is, and that's it. It does not matter if there is logic in it somewhere or not. The film is made just to make the viewer enjoy a good story with family and friends during Christmas time. It is quite obvious that the main theme of the movie is the theme of family. Columbus presents this theme in such a way for the viewer to truly feel this change in how the family members are seeing each other. From a chaotic and unsupportive family towards the main character, to a happy and joyful family that is relieved each member of the family is well. There is a big jump, and when this theme works better, but in a Christmas movie. Like in so many other movies that are connected with the holidays, and now I'm thinking of the 1946 film It's a Wonderful Life, just because it came into my mind because it was seen recently. Home Alone might try to tell the viewer that family and time spent with family is all that matters, because the family is there to love you no matter what. And family will do anything for you to be there with you. Sure, each character has its ups and downs with its family, but in the end, the greatest happiness is the one when the character is surrounded by the loved ones. Of course, there is however the theme of good that will always prevail if we put this in the context of Harry and Marv, where the evildoers are getting caught for what they have done. But the main theme of the film, the predominant one, is the theme of family. Columbus knows how to present this theme in a way that you as a viewer could feel there is like a magical plan, a Christmas miracle, that everything happened in such a way that the McAllisters felt each other's absence. The small scene in which the wind breaks the electric cables is hinted as a magical intervention, but for the characters, it is just a weather situation that made them get late at the airport. Well, with the exception of Kevin, who thinks his wish came true and his family disappeared. Oh, how close he is with the gas. I like this thing of a small magical element in a realistic world. It gives an importance to the fantasy of the story, and even though it might be a little bit of a cliché, the film's style allows this thing to be accepted by the viewer. It gives also a more dynamic feeling to the whole film, so in a way, Columbus might hint that with a little bit of magic, anything is possible, and the magic of Christmas is the most powerful one, and all the wishes will come true, although in such a way that will have a bigger impact upon the person who makes the wish. The cinematographic style of the film could be considered at least the less important part of the movie in this case. However, due to the way it is filmed, the rhythm and the dynamic between the characters and between the moments make the film to be an amazing experience. Being filmed mostly from the perspective of Kevin, who is just a child, the movie presents some shots that will try to terrify the viewer, like there are seen by Kevin as scary elements or places, and I'm thinking of the basement scenes or the scenes in which Kevin meets Marley, the old neighbor, and thinks he's a scary old man. There are also some shots in which the eponymous sanctity of the holiday is presented through some shots in which the church is elegantly shown, or moments in which Kevin sits at the table and says his prayers, or how the Christmas decorations are shown to be around the house. As a cinematographic piece of art, Columbus combines quite a lot of styles in such a way to truly give the magic of the story to make the viewer be part of the movie. There are also those noir scenes that were created for the film that became an iconic reference, that are made in the 1930s style of American cinema, that almost everyone for like 30 years thought were a part of a real film. When you create something like that and fool everyone, making them think it is real, and make them search through the archives for a film that does not exist, you have done something memorable. The soundtrack of the film is as perfect as possible, that instantly throws you in the atmosphere of the holidays. The soundtrack of the film is so American, but it has recognizable jingles that enhance the dynamic and make the film more familiar and enjoyable for the viewer. As for the iconic theme of the film, composed by the one and only John Williams, that piece of musical art gives a powerful credibility for the magical and wholesome moments from the film, like when Kevin is reunited with his family, or at the beginning of the film when the magical weather phenomenon occurs. The soundtrack is like a nice cloak that catches the film in a vibe that truly makes the viewer say, yeah, this is truly a Christmas movie. As for the most popular moments from the film, the action scenes in which Kevin fortifies his house with jokes and traps, the way the build-up is made towards those scenes is unexpected a bit. The build-up is logical, not gonna lie, because it might be a natural reaction for a kid to protect his house using toys, but there are some traps that could be beyond imagination. Not gonna lie, some of the traps reminded me of a lot of old movies in which physical comedy was made extremely well and believable, but damn, some of those traps are quite something. I would like to see some real footage or some doubles with the scenes during the filming. Leaving behind the comical part of it, because let's face it, most of the people are watching the film also because of those scenes, the way Columbus made those moments is like in a dance. He goes from one scene to another in a way to keep the viewer focused and intrigued for the next trap the burglars will face, even if the viewer knows something will come up pretty soon, keeping the element of suspense alive during those moments. And each trap is getting more and more hurtful. Funny, but hurtful, which makes the rhythm of the film to be perfect. With this style of, wait a minute, check this guy out type of feeling, Columbus surely succeeds to make the dynamic of that scene so well the viewer will not get tired of it. I think he will watch that scene, if not the whole movie, just to have a laugh once more. Physical comedy is one of the most difficult types of comedy to be made because it has to be made in a certain way to not look fake. But those moments from this scene are made so well. They truly succeed in giving the feeling of damn, they are so hurt, but so stubborn at the same time, they will get hurt more and more. Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern truly sold out the movie, in my opinion. Now, if we think seriously about it, Chris Columbus created a masterpiece here, an instant classic. He knew how to mix all the elements and created this magical story that captivates a lot of viewers, no matter their age. If we can compare Home Alone with other movies that Columbus made later, and here I'm talking about the first two Harry Potter movies, more exactly the first one, Columbus knows how to present the atmosphere of fantasy and to make the viewer think the fantasy is real. It has a certain narrative style that works well on this type of story. If I have to make a comparison, both Home Alone and The Philosopher's Stone as movies present a bit the same themes, like the theme of family and the theme of good must always prevail. There are differences, of course, but the pattern is similar. Columbus' cinematic style allows him to make movies that could be taken as a fantastic element or a serious and realistic element. It creates a balance between those two that gives his movies the element of recognition and enjoyment throughout generations. Home Alone is a film that in the last 30 years I watched it quite a lot, more times than I can count. There were times that the television stations in my country competed against each other to see who would play the movie more times in a month. There are some nice memories I have with this film. Somehow, the film got a huge popularity over the years, and it became not only a cult classic, but also a tradition around here to have Home Alone on your TV screen during Christmas time. It's like if you have not seen Home Alone in 1 year, there is no Christmas. But still, leaving the traditional rewatch behind, is Home Alone a good Christmas movie? It is up there in the marks if we are truly honest. The comedic parts of the film are quite funny. The way the film is made to resonate with many viewers helps a lot, and yes, it has a certain flair that makes you want to watch it again and again and again. After all, the noir catchphrase from the film became a meme in recent years. The scenes in which Joe Pesci tries to swear with unintelligible words is memorable, especially if you know some of the movies from his filmography. And Macaulay Culkin's charisma back then brought a lot to the table for a possible franchise. As I said, Home Alone started a film series that unfortunately only the first two movies were quite good. The third one was okay, and from the fourth one, we can forget about the series altogether. There are other movies that I saw during Christmas time for many years, but this one was yearly visited and watched. Even if it may not be loved by some people, though seriously I doubt it, I think Home Alone is one of the most popular Christmas movies of all time. Compared with other classical movies, yeah, it might be considered still a fresh movie, but in 30 years, there are a lot of people who cannot wait for Christmas time or Christmas Day to watch this movie. So I think you can safely say the film's purpose is completed. The film is remembered and the legacy started to be built around it quite fast. Some movies may be forgotten over time and rediscovered once more sometime into the future. But Home Alone? Nah, it will be there on your TV screen every single Christmas, and it will be as enjoyable as the first time it was seen in cinemas 35 years ago.